Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Scorpion Cigar Reviews. Out here at the beach again today. Today I will be reviewing the Graycliff Platinum series. This is a Presidente size 7x48. Slight sponginess to the stick, not real bad. There is a little bit of damage to the foot right out of the cellophane, where the wrapper has been damaged just right at the very foot. I don't think it'll be a big issue. Appears to be a triple cap. It's a kind of a milk chocolate colored wrapper. Some minor veins. Tight seams other than where it's torn at the foot, and way up near the head of the cigar you can see the seam. But other than that, the main body of the cigar has almost invisible seams. Has almost a dry leather feel to the wrapper. Basic tobacco notes on the wrapper. The foot, however, has some baker's cocoa, maybe some chili powder, maybe some cedar, some grasses in there. A little bit of a cedary taste. Alright. I'll get the bands removed. And a little bit too much glue on that one. A little bit of damage to the wrapper there. It doesn't look like it's too deep on the damage though. Let's get the other band off. That was a little bit better. Okay. I'll be using my Cigar cutter. Pre-draw. Mild chili powder type spices. Ever so slight hint of cedar in there. A little bit of tobacco taste. A little bit of resistance to the draw, not too terribly bad. As long as it doesn't tighten up any, I think it'll be alright like it is. Alright. So we'll get lit up and see how it progresses. The wrapper feels very delicate, almost not really brittle, but like a very thin parchment paper. I feel the need to take care handling the cigar for fear of any more damage to the wrapper. Alright, there we go. Plenty of smoke output. Slightly dry smoke. There's an aftertaste there. I'm not sure how to describe it. I've tasted this on several cigars, and as long as it's subtle and short on the finish and just really kind of just in the background, just barely there, it doesn't seem to put me off. But if it's more forward, more pronounced, stronger, longer lasting, then yes, then I don't like cigars that have this taste, whatever this is. Haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what it is. Alright, there's a burst of black pepper on the retrohale. Some cayenne pepper coming through. Alright, my initial impressions are this is going to be a full-strength, full-bodied cigar. It's fairly powerful. Okay, so I'll get somewhere to the first third and we'll see what happens from there. Here we're just entering the first third. A little bit of the ash came off. I set it down in the ashtray for a moment, and about a half inch of the ash fell off. So I'm about an inch into it, so I'm off of the initial lighting, just starting the first third. So far the draw hasn't tightened up any, so it's still okay. A little bit of resistance there, maybe a little bit more than I like, but still within smokable range. There's some heavy parchment notes in there. A little bit of black pepper on the retrohale and on the rear of the palate. Dry smoke. Nothing real impressive at this time. It is a fairly substantial cigar, so it could very well change and open up and bring on some really nice flavors. Just have to see what happens. I forgot to turn on the beach, so let's try this again. Here we are, just entering the first third. I laid it down in the ashtray for a moment, and about a half an inch worth of ash fell off, which was basically the initial lighting. So I'm a good inch or so into the cigar. Still a fairly tight draw, not to the point where it's unsmokable, but it's definitely tighter than I like. There's some heavy parchment notes in there. A little bit of black pepper on the retrohale and on the rear of the palate. And there's still that little hint of whatever this flavor is that I'm not real fond of, but it's so minor that it's not putting me off. It's not at all overbearing. Not a whole lot going on with the cigar at the moment. But it is a fairly substantial cigar, being 7 by 48. So maybe in the next 2 or 3 inches worth of cigar, maybe it'll really open up, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it'll really open up and bring out some nice flavors. We'll have to see what happens. So I'll continue on and get somewhere into the second, third, and I'll be back. Beautiful day. Here we are, just entering the second, third. The ash on the cigar is quite loose. I'm finding that I have to ash at about the 3/4 of an inch mark. Seems to be a pretty even burn, crisp burn line, very slight amount of waviness, you can see right there. But you can also see that the ash is it's just very loose. It's not at all compact. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ash this again. No? It's making a liar out of me. Not ready to come off. Anyway. Second, third. That underlying aftertaste that I had mentioned that I don't really care for seems to have disappeared. I'm not picking up a whole lot of complexity or anything. There's not a whole lot of flavors. There's not a whole lot going on with the cigar. It's not bad. I'm just not picking up a whole lot. Very narrow flavor profile. The parchment has become more of a, not really cardboard, but very heavy parchment paper. Draw is tightening up slightly, still within a reasonable range, but once again, much tighter than I care for. And there's really no room to cut any more off of the head. There is a little bit of a nicotine kick, I've noticed, as I entered the second, third. I'm getting that kind of dizzy drunkenness feel. I am pairing it with Pirate rum. However, I've only had a few sips out of the rum. And I'm very accustomed to drinking spirits, so I don't feel that it's the rum that's giving me this overall relaxed kind of dizzy feel. I think it's the nicotine. Clean burning. The minor damage that was done to the cigar by the wrapper, by the banding, I mean, from the excess glue, doesn't seem to be an issue. I'm not pulling any additional air through. I'm not having any issues there. Not having any issues with the burn at all. Burning fairly quickly, and I attribute that to the fairly narrow ring gauge. Being a 7-inch cigar, probably a 48 ring gauge is probably about right for the cigar. I couldn't imagine this cigar going on for an hour and a half or 2 hours. There's just not enough going on with it to make it enjoyable for 90 minutes or more. At this stage in the cigar, I'd be surprised if it burned for an hour. Not to say that it won't slow down. I've seen many a cigar that burned very quickly into the second, third, and then slow way down. And that could be the case with this. We just have to see what happens. I've never smoked this cigar before, so I don't know what to expect. generally most of my cigar reviews are done without any prior knowledge to a cigar, unless I've had the cigar before and did not review it, and then decided to review it just because it was simply a fantastic cigar. There we go, little flick, came off nicely. So I'll get somewhere into the final third and I'll be back. Hey folks, how you doing today? Now I'm smoking a Graycliff cigar today. First review of this. Be sure to check me out on Scorpion Cigar Reviews on YouTube and on my website, scorpioncigarreviews.yolasite.com. Here I am, just entering the final third. Once again, I ashed just a moment ago. Been a slight change in the cigar at this point. For a moment, I picked up very subtle hints of perhaps toffee. Very subtle, short on the finish. Only lasted for 1 or 2 draws. Quickly disappeared. Now I'm back to the heavy parchment. A little bit of, not really black pepper, maybe more along the lines of a white pepper. Subtle, short on the finish. Smoke is still very dry. The ash has been, in addition to very loose, it's a very white ash, almost a snow white, just very, very white. You can see through the cracks the black ash within. I've been told that generally a white ash is more compact and holds on better, but that's not the case with this cigar. I have noticed with other cigars that a slightly darker ash, in my own experience, holds on a little bit better. Could just be that that's just the way this cigar is burning. A little bit of waviness coming on. Not too bad. I haven't had to correct the burn at all. Cigar hasn't gone out at all. The burn is fine. Draw remains slightly tight, a little bit resistive, but well within the range. So I'll continue on, probably get into the nub just to see if there's any changes. I have found with many cigars that while the main body is unimpressive, something will kick in right at the nub. It will kind of wow you right at the end. So we'll see if that's the case with the cigar. I'll be back at the nub. About an hour in, I'm at the nub. Draw remains somewhat tight, not too bad, a little bit restrictive, but not too bad. Fairly even burn. A little bit of waviness right there, no big deal. Throughout, the cigar's been pretty had a pretty narrow flavor profile. Mostly heavy parchment, a little bit of black pepper in there. There was a slight burst of the black pepper and a little bit of cayenne pepper early on. For a moment, there was a hint of toffee. Quickly dissipated and went back to the heavy parchment. A little bit of white pepper, rear palate, fairly dry smoke throughout, very loose ash. It's been an overall unimpressive cigar. So for about an hour burn time, subtle flavors, narrow flavor profile. The burn was very nice, however. So, I thank you for once again watching Scorpion Cigar Reviews of the Graycliff Presidente 7x48.